I push open the heavy metal door and step into the warehouse. It's huge, dark, and quiet. The air smells old and dusty. I'm here to paint the front office, a job my dad gave me when we bought this place cheap. Now that I'm here, I'm not so sure it was a good idea. As I walk through the big room, my footsteps echo loudly. The place feels weird, like something's watching me. I try to shake off the feeling and focus on my work, but then I notice something strange. All the door locks are backwards. It's like they were meant to keep something in, not out. That gives me the creeps, but I keep going. In the front office, I start putting tape on the door frame to paint. The work helps me forget how spooky the place is. Then I hear it, a loud thump, then another. I stop and listen. It could be anything, I tell myself. Maybe the building's just odd and making noises. But then I hear a screech. It's faint, but definitely there. It doesn't sound like an animal or a person. My heart starts racing as I try to convince myself it's just a raccoon that got inside. I keep working, but my hands are shaking. Suddenly there's a loud bang. I almost fall off my ladder. The office door, which I left open, is now shut. I look around the corner to check. I try to tell myself it's just a draft, but I know there's no wind in here. The air is completely still. The thumping starts again, louder and closer. It sounds like it's right behind the door now. I stand frozen as I watch the door handle turn by itself. The door swings open slowly, but there's nothing there. Just empty space and a silence so quiet it hurts my ears. For a second, I think it's over. Then I hear a scream, a human scream, full of pain and anger. It seems to come from the big warehouse room. The door slams shut so hard the walls shake. That's when I run. I don't stop until I'm in my car, calling my dad with shaking hands. When we come back together, the warehouse looks normal. The dust on the floor is smooth, the windows are still locked. But then we see a hanging light swinging. I climb up to look at it, and there's a handprint on top, a huge handprint, bigger than any person's. There are no footprints in the dust below. We can't figure out how anyone could have reached it. As we stand there confused, it happens again. The thump comes back, but this time it's like an earthquake. The whole building shakes. Then the scream follows, seeming to come from the walls themselves. It's a terrible sound, full of pain and anger, echoing through the empty space. We run, our feet pounding on the concrete floor as we race for the exit. As I burst through the door into the fresh air, I promise myself I'll never come back. Whatever's in that warehouse, it's not human, and it's not done yet. I know I'll have nightmares about that scream and that handprint for years to come. I unlock my apartment door, tired after a long day at work. As I step inside, something feels off. The air feels different, tense. I try to ignore it, thinking it's just because I'm not used to living alone yet. I go to the bathroom and stop dead in my tracks. The wooden board that covers the attic hole is on the floor, broken in half. It's a thick, strong board. How did this happen? I look at the pieces, trying to figure it out. It would take someone very strong to break this. A chill runs down my back as I realize no one else has a key to my place. I email my landlord, trying to sound calm as I ask if anyone had been here. She writes back, asking me to call her right away. When I do, she tells me the last 2 people who lived here said the same thing happened. Now I'm really scared. A month goes by and I've almost convinced myself it was nothing. Then one night, I wake up suddenly at 4 a.m. My skin feels weird, like someone's touching me. I lie there, too scared to move, listening hard. That's when I hear it. A dragging sound from above, like someone's pulling a heavy bag across the attic floor. The sound is clear, too heavy to be an animal. My heart's beating so fast, I think whatever's up there must hear it. It feels like hours before I get the courage to check. I tiptoe to the bathroom holding a cricket bat. The new attic board put up just weeks ago is broken on the floor. As I stare at it, not believing my eyes, I hear something that makes my blood run cold. Whispers. Kids' voices saying over and over, "It's your turn, it's your turn." I turn on every single light, trying to calm down. My familiar apartment doesn't feel safe anymore. Suddenly the power goes out. In the dark, I hear my pet bird Dexter start to scream. I've never heard him make a sound like that before. It's a terrified shriek that sounds almost human. I run to my car, too scared to stay in the apartment. I wait there, shivering until the sun comes up. Only then do I dare to go back. I find my front door wide open, even though I'm sure I slammed it shut when I ran out. Worse, I find Dexter half drowned in the toilet. I save him, my mind spinning from everything that's happened. For the next year and a half, I keep hearing whispers and the attic board keeps moving. Each time it happens, I get more scared. Even after I finally move out, I hear that new people living there are seeing the same things. Whatever's in that attic, it's not finished with that apartment yet. Years later, I still wake up sometimes in the middle of the night, my skin feeling weird. In those moments, I could swear I hear a faint whisper. "It's your turn." The party at the house on Ashley Street is loud and fun. Music is playing and people are laughing. I'm only 15, probably too young to be here. But I'm excited about my first college party. That is until I feel it, a sudden bone-chilling cold that comes out of nowhere. It gets so cold so fast that I can see my breath. My arms get goosebumps and I shiver. The other people at the party don't seem to notice. They keep talking and dancing like everything's normal. Am I imagining this? Looking for somewhere warmer, I go upstairs away from the crowded living room. It's quieter up here, the music just a faint thump from downstairs. As I get to the top of the stairs, I see something that makes me stop. The wall at the end of the hallway starts to move, rippling like water. A black shadow comes out of the wavy wall, slowly taking shape as it comes towards me. I'm so scared I can't move. The shadow gets closer, its edges blurry and changing with each step. I can feel it now, like the air is getting heavy and hard to breathe. Just as it's about to reach me, I finally snap out of it and run. I rush back downstairs, my heart pounding, but what I see there is just as scary. Posters are flying off the walls by themselves, falling into a pile on the floor. The other people at the party are finally noticing that something's wrong. They look confused and scared. Suddenly I feel strange, like I'm not in control of my body anymore. My mouth opens and words come out that aren't mine. The drugs and addiction were my fault, and I take the blame for that, but I wasn't really like that deep down. I want to say sorry to everyone involved for what I did. The room goes quiet, everyone looking at me. These aren't my words, I don't do drugs, I've never been addicted to anything. I stand there, shaken and confused as I start to understand what just happened. Then someone speaks up, their voice shaky. They explain that the guy who used to live in this house died from taking too much heroin in this very room. Somehow his ghost has used me to speak, to say sorry for what he did. As I stand there, I start to realize what this means. The line between the living and the dead isn't as clear as I thought. And sometimes ghosts have things they really need to say. The party ends soon after that. No one feels like having fun anymore after what happened. As I leave, I look back at the house one last time. In an upstairs window, I see a figure for just a second before it disappears. I hurry away, but I know I'll never forget this night or the ghost of Ashley Street.